Hey, what's up guys? It's Pete here with mixbetternow.com, and today I want to address a question that I've been getting a lot recently, and that question is, should I EQ before I compress, or should I compress before I EQ? But before we dive into that, please do me a favor. Please hit subscribe, please hit like, and in the bottom left-hand corner, please click on that link, sign up for the email list, and get my free swag bag, which is full of all kinds of free things like free multi-track sessions, free mix templates, free drum samples, free impulse responses, all kinds of free stuff, so please check it out. All right, I have a session pulled open here in Studio One. Just dragged the tracks in. Nothing is really mixed yet. Just kind of threw the faders up and just did a little bit of panning. It sounds like this.
The more I say, the less I know. You mutter as you walk away. That's what I thought you'd say. You can take my heart to the limit. It'll keep me coming back for more. But then you tell me your heart isn't in it. A different story than you saw before. I know you know the difference between the colors and the sound, but I can't take it on faith. Not every heaven can wait. Let's be done with the messing around. This is the limit.
All right, so the eternal question, should I EQ before I compress or should I compress before I EQ? And my general statement for that would be, when in doubt, EQ before you compress, but preferably do your subtractive EQ before compressing. So subtractive EQ before compressing, additive EQ after compressing, or said differently, compression before additive EQ. Now, of course, there's exceptions to every rule. And, as you guys go along and you figure out your sound and you figure out how you like to lay out your processing and, how you use your buses or your effects, all of those things come into account. Some people like to push EQ into compressors because they like the way that sounds, but I don't want to get confusing here. I just want to keep it simple. And the simple answer is EQ before compression is a very easy way to stay out of trouble. Now, I'm going to show you the example why I would recommend doing that if you are, in fact, in doubt. And I'm going to use the vocal here. The lead vocal, I've just done a little bit of processing to it. All I've really done is I have the VCC on here. I love the VCC from Slate. I use that on the majority of my mixes. The trimmers just for a little gain staging. Then I am using the Pro Q2. I'm doing some subtractive EQ here, some high pass filtering, getting rid of a little bit of mud, and then getting rid of a little bit of that nasal boxy area. And then the first compressor I have in is the 1176. It's the Rev E from UAD. Then I'm compressing again. So I'm doing a little bit of serial compression. This is like my new favorite compressor in the world. This thing is incredible. If you guys are into third-party plugins, got to check this out. This is the Acme Opticom from Brainworks from Plugin Alliance, and this thing's an absolute beast. It is basically, it's an optical compressor, I believe. But what's so cool about it is you can adjust your release time, and it's a little bit different because it's kind of like an 1176 where the more you push into it, the more compression or gain reduction you get over here. And then I'm doing a little bit of de-essing on the back end. And then the lead vocal goes to a lead vocal bus, and on the lead vocal bus, I'm doing a little bit more compression after the de-esser with the Nomad Factory bus driver. And then I am also doing some parallel compression over here. I'm going to turn that off though, and I'll turn it back on. And then all of those things come here to this fader called vocal level. So let me solo this up. I'll play it, and then I will tell you why I would recommend doing subtractive EQ before compressing and additive EQ after compressing. Let's go to the chorus.
Take my heart to the limit. It'll keep me coming back for more. But then you tell me your heart isn't in it. A different story than you saw before. I know you know the difference.
Okay, so I'm going to turn everything off, and we'll start with the EQ. And I'm also going to turn off the effects, and I'm going to turn off the parallel compression. So here's the dry vocal with no EQ.
Take my heart to the limit. It'll keep me coming back for more. But then you tell me your heart isn't in it.
So here's with the subtractive EQ in.
Take my heart to the limit. It'll keep me coming back for more. But then you tell me your heart isn't in it. A different story than you saw before. I know you know the difference between the colors and the sound.
So as you can hear, that's really cleaning up some of the bottom end, some of the mud, some of the lows. And the next thing we're doing is we're coming over here to the 1176. And this is a very dynamic vocal performance, and on dynamic information, I love using 1176s. So pay attention to the gain reduction meter here. And the reason I want you to pay attention to it is it's going to be really important in a minute when I show you what happens when we use additive EQ before it. But let's see how much we're doing right now.
Take my heart to the limit. It'll keep me coming back for more. But then you tell me your heart isn't in it. A different story than you saw before.
So I'd say we're doing about anywhere from 0 to maybe 7 dB on the peaks. Then I'm using the Acme Opticom for a little bit of smoothing. I'm kind of using this as like an LA two-way style compressor after my 1176. Let's pay attention again here to the gain reduction meter, see how much we got going on.
Take my heart to the limit. It'll keep me coming back for more. But then you tell me your heart isn't in it. A different story than you saw before.
So I'd say about 5 on the peaks there. A little bit of de-essing.
Take my heart to the limit. It'll keep me coming back for more. But then you tell me your heart isn't in it.
All right. Now, I want to pull up the API 550 here from UAD, and this is going to kind of be the EQ I'm going to use to show you why I would recommend doing the additive stuff after your compression. So what I did here was I dragged it before our 1176. Let's do something like this. Okay, so I'm boosting 4 dB of 100. 3K, 4 dB of 3K, and 2 dB of a 10K shelf. Now, I just kind of grabbed some random frequencies and threw them up, some stuff that normally sounds good on a vocal, and I put this before our compressors. So what I want to show you is what happens to our compressors when we push signal into them. And compressors are sensitive in terms of how much information gets fed into them, especially with an 1176 and especially with an LA2A style compressor like this, where the harder we drive it, the more compression we get. What happens is the more EQ that we drive into these compressors, right, we're getting level, they are going to react to that level being sent into them. So what happens as a result? Well, if we get our compressors to a nice sweet spot where we're compressing our vocal and it sounds good and we really like how much reduction we're doing, if we go and boost these frequencies before these compressors, it is going to throw off our compression, our gain staging, all of that stuff, where we're then going to have to go back and readjust our compressors because it's going to make these compressors work harder boosting before them. Now, if we do it after, it's not going to affect them. I'll show you what I mean. So let's just take a look at the 1176 right now. I'm going to turn the API on. So I'll start with it off, watch the meter of the compressor, and then I'll pop the API on and watch the needle jump here.
Take my heart to the limit. It'll keep me coming back for more.
So the peak there I saw was like 760 dB. Here's the API on.
Take my heart to the limit. It'll keep me coming back for more. But then you tell me your heart isn't in it. A different story than you saw before. I know you know.
Okay, one more time.
Take my heart to the...
Right there when it says take my heart, right? On the my, I would say that's at about 9 dB, 10 dB. So that's really kind of up, I would say 3 dB from where we are. Where we were before. Let's pull open the Opticom. Same thing. Let's take a look at the gain reduction meter right here. I'll turn the API off.
Take my heart to the limit. It'll keep me coming back for more. But then you tell me your heart isn't in it.
So I would say like the max I'm seeing on that is 5. Let's turn the API on.
Take my heart to the limit. It'll keep me coming back for more. But then you tell me your heart isn't in it. A different story than you saw before.
So right there, I'm seeing about a 2 dB increase going up to 7 dB. So if we were to boost before these compressors, or do our additive EQ before these compressors, we would then have to go back and retweak at some point. Now, I'm not saying it sounds bad. I'm just saying it's technically easier if you're at a point in your mixing career or at the stage where you're still trying to figure these things out. It's just a safer bet, and it's just an easier way to work to do your subtractive EQ before you compress. Now, here's the way I would recommend doing this. Now, if you still want to boost those frequencies, there's no problem with that. Here's how I would do it. I would take the API off on the channel, and like I said before, everything's coming here to our lead vocal bus. Now, we're doing a little bit more compression here, knocking off 1 to 2 dB on the Nomad bus driver. But I would put the API on the bus after we do our compression. So I have the same settings on, right? We're doing 4 dB of 100, 4 dB of 3K, and 2 dB of 10K shelf. So let's go ahead and play that, and then I will engage it and watch the compression meters, and you'll see that it's the same compression as we were before we were boosting, but we're still going to get the boost. We're still going to get that tone from the EQ. It's just going to be afterwards, and we don't have to worry about messing with the level of our compressors. Check it out.
Take my heart to the limit. It'll keep me coming back for more. But then you tell me your heart isn't in it. A different story than you saw before.
Okay, I'm going to turn it on the bus. This is after all the compressors.
Take my heart to the limit. It'll keep me coming back for more. But then you tell me your heart isn't in it. A different story than you saw before.
Now, when you hear that volume jump right there, it's more evident now because the compressors were dealing with a lot of that volume. Those compressors were turning that volume boost down, hence why they were working harder, is because we're pushing more dB into the compressors. What does a compressor do? It acts almost like a volume knob where it turns things down and it sets our noise floor, constantly adjusting. So this is always a safe way to do it. Just for fun, I'll turn the effects back on, and we'll put the parallel compression on, and we'll turn this down a little bit, start with it off.
Take my heart to the limit. It'll keep me coming back for more. But then you tell me your heart isn't in it.
Now let's pop it on.
Take my heart to the limit. It'll keep me coming back for more. But then you tell me your heart isn't in it. A different story than you saw before.
All right, and there you have it. There is my basic, easy answer for this problem. When in doubt, EQ before you compress, subtractive EQ before compression, and additive EQ after you compress. And that way you won't get into too much trouble. The more advanced you get and the more comfortable you get with the idea and the process, you can do whatever you like, and you can experiment and, use your ears, right? I find I'm guilty of it too. Visually mixing. I look at, spectrographs, and I'm looking at, how many dBs am I doing of compression? But really, right, using our ears is the most important thing that we can do when mixing. So, all right, so that's it from me. If you guys haven't already, please do me a favor. Please hit subscribe, please hit like, and please click on the link below and sign up for the email list. Get your free swag bag, no strings attached. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you got something from it. And as always, I appreciate your time very much, and I hope you have a great day. I'll catch you guys next time.